What's on your mind, Caleb, from the UP?
My question is, it's a bit of a delicate question because there are so many people that have been harmed by divorce. And coming from I was a conservative Anabaptist before I was brought into the church a few years ago. And in Matthew 19, Christ gets asked questions about divorce. Is it okay to divorce our wives for just any reason? And he says, have you not read that God created them male and female and that they should come together and become one flesh? And they say, well, then why did Moses give us the ability to write out a writ of divorce? I just re-listened to Deuteronomy, and it was kind of interesting. But he said, because of the hardness of your hearts, but from the beginning it was not so. And when I'm having discussions with extended family or friends, this one always comes up. And I try to explain that the church's position on this is a little bit more nuanced than just allowing divorce. But it is a very difficult question. I would love to hear a whole show on this. But particular to this series or these two episodes, what is going on there authority-wise where Christ is saying, yes, Moses told you this, but that?
So what do you think, Father? Is this Moses said this, but that? Is he changing what Moses said?
No. I mean, Christ obviously is pointing out the original created intent when God created the world, right? That there would not be divorce. That the two would, right? As he says, the two would become one flesh and be together forever. That was the original sort of intent behind marriage. But, right, notice Christ doesn't say Moses was wrong or all of you who did what Moses said were actually sinning. Right? Moses had the authority to make that judgment call. Christ is not denying that. He's explaining why, right? That he said, he looked at you people. He saw how hard your hearts were, right? And he made a concession, basically. He made a ruling that was a concession to your weakness.
But he put some boundaries around it, saying,
right,
you can't just throw her out.
You can't just abandon her, right?
Yeah.
You have to give her a writ of divorce, right? And of course, at that time, they were abusing that concession, right? To like, oh, it's okay, I can divorce her for any reason as long as I give her a writ of divorce, right? Which also, I'm pretty sure isn't what Moses intended, right? When he made that concession.
Yeah.
Right. And this really carries over into the church's practice regarding divorce, right? Which is, we all acknowledge it's a bad thing. The church doesn't give divorces. The church penances divorces, meaning the church helps people who have been harmed and damaged by going through a divorce, helps them heal and be reintegrated into the community and come close to God again. That's what the church does, right? Now, there's some other folks out there based in Italy who will say, oh, no, we don't allow divorce. But if you give enough money to your local bishop, you can get an annulment where we say that you were never married and all your kids are illegitimate.
Yeah, all you did was fornicate.
So we create this elaborate fiction and pretend that no divorce happened. What's the problem with that? Well, there's no healing in that for anyone.
Yeah.
It's a nice legal dodge, right? And it helps your apologists score points by saying they don't allow divorce. But you're not actually helping anyone enter the kingdom of heaven because you're not helping anyone heal. You're not helping anyone grow, and you're not helping the situation. Right? So the same thing. And anybody who has a problem with the church allowing people to have a second marriage, go read the service of second marriage. I've done one.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. When you're standing there doing one and you're literally reading St. Paul saying, well, we're basically here because it's better for you to marry than to burn with lust in a public wedding ceremony, right? You get the drift, right? We're not saying, oh, this is fine.
Yeah.
Right? We're saying, look, this is the real world. Bad things happen. People have hard hearts. We're not in the ideal world. We're in a sinful world. And so we've got to do the best we can. And the people who have the authority to bind and to loose, to allow things and not allow things, right? Those people have to use that authority to try to help people enter the kingdom of heaven. Because that's what Christ is condemning the Pharisees for. All through that chapter we read, right? You're supposed to be trying to help people enter into the kingdom, and instead you're stopping them. You're making it harder. You're blocking the door. You're burdening them down and not lightening their load, right? So you're doing the exact opposite of what you're supposed to be doing with your authority. But shepherding someone toward the kingdom requires both mercy and discipline. That's why we get called father, because it's like parenting a child, right? You have to have mercy and discipline and know when to apply which, right? In order to help guide them to where they need to be.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for calling, Caleb, and greetings to all the hosers up there in the Upper Peninsula.